Hi, welcome back to part 5 of my builds on the Vorschlaghammer. This will be the 6th and final build that I'm doing on the car, at least for the moment. And it's a build I promised myself right from the start before this car came out, which is a race build. And today we're going to build perhaps one of the most famous DTM cars of all time, which is the Evo 2 that raced from the late 80s to the early 90s, sponsored by Sonax. You remember in part 3 we built the Evo 2. Well, of course that was homologated so that we could have this race car, which we're now going to make. Phenomenally successful in the late 80s and early 90s. So on the screen now you see the Evil Evo, which is the car I built in part 4. Check that one out if you're interested in that car. But let's now turn the Evil Evo into the Sonax race car. In order to get the correct livery and also to have a more race-like interior, you must apply drift tuning before you follow the rest of this guide. That's down at the car meet, of course. Now when it comes to the arch covers, I've covered this in all of them. They're not quite right, the ones that we have, but still bolt-on arches painted is the nearest you're going to find to the Evo 2 body kit. Onto the bumpers. For the front bumpers we want a certain amount of intakes. We don't want any recess for the number plate, really only a central intake. The best one is the plate and fog lights delete, this one here. It gets very close. We do have 2 extra sort of brake cooling vents, but that's that. The rear bumper is simply stock, and the exhaust is pretty much exactly stock. I wish it came out of a small slot, but it's perfect. The grille, again we want the chrome, so that goes to stock. We don't have any headlight covers. The hood, we do want the Mercedes star, so that in this game at least is the benefactor ornament. On down to the livery, and of course this is the big plus point on the car. One of the 3 drift liveries, the Dense 76, is, as you can see, pretty much the Sonax livery, and so you absolutely need this. I have a few things to say about the liveries on this car, but I'm going to save those because there's a little roundup video coming a bit later. On the louvers we want something more stuck out than the rear strip, but not stuck out as far as the roof wing. Now here I didn't particularly want it in red, which is what this livery gives me, so I'm definitely just going to take the rear strip in this particular case. On down then to respray, and this is nice and simple, just a classic black on the primary and the secondary. On to skirts. I have jumped between stock and track when I was first working out how to do this build. I have finally settled on track, but wouldn't blame you if you went stock. I just feel track is slightly nearer the shape. For splitters we want the painted splitter. Now I know that will make it black, but there is no silver option. You could go chrome I guess, but I mean chrome is, well, it's chrome, isn't it? So painted splitter for that. The RS wing here is as close as we're ever going to get to the Evo wing setup on the car. Sunstrip, yes we do want one now. That looks really good obviously for the race build. And suspension, even this street suspension on the drift build is very low, and I think I'm just going to raise this up a bit. You know, you could almost go up to stock, but I think I'll probably go to lowered and leave it there. Just so wish those arches were round, but I must stop saying that. For the wheels I'm going to start just by painting these ones in the alloy colour, just so we can see what we're doing more. I reckon there's a couple of viable choices here. The first one is to go into the SUV category and pick the Cognoscenti rims. They're not a million miles off, and these will have the advantage if you want to go chrome, because if you're like me you hate the grey of the alloy. Well, at least being an SUV wheel this will be available in chrome, so definitely an option. And there's centre locking cap is a bit like the centre cap on those wheels. The other option, and the one I decided to stick with because I preferred the shape a little bit, are these stovetop wheels in the track category. Now there's a few wheels in this category, all of which look like they could sort of do the job, and all of which have some advantages and disadvantages. I rather like stovetop, despite the fact we're on a chrome outside and the so-called alloy middle. But if you're building this car, I'd love to know below if you have found an alternate way of doing the wheels or what you did. We're leaving the windows alone without any tint, so that completes the build of the car. So let's take it out and have a look. I do like the look of this, and for some reason on this race build the greyness of the alloy colour doesn't annoy me as much as it can do on some cars. So this car definitely gets a place in my race collection. It's how I'm intending to store the car. The only problem is my race collection is 60 cars and it has 60 in it. So something's going to have to give. That'll be a problem for another day. Meanwhile, I'd love to know down below if you've built this car, but what I really would like to know is overall how many of these do you own and what builds have you settled on finally? Because this will have a bearing on the roundup video that I want to do really quite soon. I want to summarise quite a lot about this car and how it pertains to the builder of real world cars, and knowing what some of you guys have done to yours will, I think, be very helpful for me. So if you could let me know that down below. Obviously if you like the build, then like the video, and if you like real cars in GTA, then do consider a subscription. It would be much appreciated. And for those who don't know, I don't bang on about it, but the bit of money that this channel makes goes to charity. So if you sub, watch adverts and stuff, that's all fantastic. It's War Child it's going to help children who didn't start wars, who got unfortunately wrapped up in them. But even though it's for charity, there's no mid-roll ads, because I think they're the work of the devil. I can't stand mid-roll ads, so they're just not in here. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Do note I didn't crash my drift car this time, and thank you so much for watching.